Well, I'll tell you a little bit more of the story of how we began to pull this research together. I'd been so lucky. When I did my doctorate at Columbia, I got to work with a famous anthropologist, Margaret Mead. And Margaret was in her late 70s. Most of us as graduate students were in our mid to late 30s. She ran circles around us, physically, in every way. She was the Energizer Bunny. If you were driving Margaret to the airport, she was talking about what she'd just read or quizzing you on your research, but there was a real enthusiasm to her spirit. And I remember one day saying, "Margaret, I'm curious, where do you get your energy?" And she stopped, and if you know Margaret Mead, she was not slim and trim. But that didn't slow her down. She stopped, she kind of scratched her head and grinned. She got this little aha look, and she said, "I suppose it's because I never grew up while fooling most people into believing that I have." Now think about it. That was the breakthrough that came to us as we begin to think about how can we break the logjam of even when you know what to do, you can't get yourself to do it. And it was about KidSpirit. And Margaret helped me realize that my gift in research was formative, not summative, and that means intuitively I could figure it out. I couldn't always explain the process to others, and the statistical measurement is the other end of it, and that's where I need help from somebody else. But on the front end, she helped me see that what I typically do is think in terms of patterns. So again, what subcultures come to mind when you think about people with high energy? And the ones that Dwayne and I looked to were peak performers. Often they're Olympic athletes. Lance Armstrong is one that just seems to exude energy and hope and possibility. Geniuses, I'd spent 2 decades studying geniuses, and the ones that I had worked up close with, Bucky Fuller, Margaret Mead I mentioned, Alexander Calder. And when you study the life of Einstein or Edison, you know that they had some outrageous qualities that they prized. They were curious with ideas. They were rule breakers in their thinking. And the category of little kids, we began to discover there were 15 traits about children around how they play, how they approach life, that are the opposite of adults. And if you think left brain serious adults, right brain spontaneous curious children, what happens when you go into burnout is you get polarized and stuck over here. And when you move to whole brain energy, you integrate the two. So the breakthrough was something we call KidSpirit. The 4th group was the self-actualized person, as defined by Abraham Maslow. And you may know he was the first psychologist to study healthy people, not sick people. And self-actualized person simply means you're abundantly healthy. And again, in that adult group, there was this quality of lifelong playfulness or very positive engagement with life, no matter what the circumstance.